I don't think anyone here would disagree with the statement that every good thing comes from God. It sounds so simple and straightforward. It sounds so common that it's almost cliche. As quick as we are to agree with that statement and even to take it for granted, how much have we really thought about its deeper implications? If every good thing comes from God, what should we do with the things that we have received? In this parable about the rich fool in today's gospel reading, Jesus illustrates the difficulty and the utter futility involved in storing up personal earthly treasure. We don't know when we will leave this world and leave behind whatever we've accumulated. The rich man in the parable has a good problem. He has a bountiful harvest, a harvest so large that his barns cannot hold all of the wheat. So, lacking the necessary storage space, the man really has three options on what he could do. The first would be let some of the grain go bad. Just don't store some of it, and some of it rots in that way. Not a good option. Second option is he could give his extra grain to those who don't have enough. Or the third option, he could build bigger barns. He chooses that third option, and in choosing to build bigger barns, the landowner chooses to preserve as much grain as possible for himself. He stores up treasure for himself and loses an opportunity to be rich in what matters to God. As his life ends early, he must leave behind what he has earned. A manifestation of what we heard in our first reading, taken from the book of Ecclesiastes. Here is one who has labored with wisdom and knowledge and skill. And yet to another who has not labored over it, he must leave property. Ecclesiastes speaks of this reality as an example of vanity, just as it speaks of worldly anxieties as a type of vanity. Now, I've heard recently that vanity is maybe not even the best translation here, but there's not a great English word. This is more like something that goes up in smoke, something that's just barely there, something that's maybe ephemeral or vapid or something there, so that when we speak about vanity of vanities, it's sort of nothingness of nothingness almost, or almost nothingness of almost nothingness. But at any rate, instead of focusing on possessions or various other concerns of this world, we're called instead to seek what is above, as we heard in Paul's letter to the Colossians. We are called to put to death whatever is earthly so that we may live for what is above. As we live for what is above, as we live for God, we have this great opportunity to reflect on the gifts of God in our lives. As I mentioned at the beginning, we can all agree that every good thing comes from God. Is it not a good idea, then, to ask how these good things can be used in service of God? Clearly, the landowner in the gospel parable could not give his grain directly to God, but he certainly could have given it to other people on the earth. Recognizing that beautiful harvest, that bountiful harvest as a gift from God, he could have given some of it away to help those in need. He could have recognized that the material goods of this world are meant ultimately for everyone. This concept is called the universal destination of all goods, and it's described in the Catechism of the Catholic Church, paragraph 2402 and following. Basically, it means that material goods of this world come from God and ultimately are meant for everyone. They are meant for the common good of all. Of course, the right to private property is respected as fair compensation for one's labor. At the same time, we must be ready to examine our own possessions and ask how each thing we own benefits not only ourselves, but also others. We are, in effect, really stewards of things that God actually owns. If we see them as a blessing, then whatever level of blessing we may have received should always be an opportunity to bless others as well, to give of what we have received. Imagine the scenario in our gospel reading today. If the rich man had decided to give away some of his grain rather than building new barns, his generosity would have benefited his own soul and his relationship with God and his neighbor, while also relieving the hunger of those in need. All the energy, all the expense put into building the new barns could have been directed instead towards something else, such as the needs of the less fortunate. We live in a world that requires us to have certain things. There's no doubt about it. All of us need a place to live. We need food to eat and clothing to wear. Most of us need regular, reliable transportation. Families must look after their children and, yes, save for the long-term needs such as retirement. Possessions, then, will always be part of our lives. There's no doubt about that. The question is merely whether we fall into the vanity of vanities and the earthly focus of trying to acquire more, or whether instead we seek to share our blessings in recognition of what God has given us. May our focus always be on things that are above, so that we can, in the words of Jesus, be rich in what matters to God.